to start off the session with inspiring you to excellence from all the way out in Russia, all the way across another continent, is Atile Tumagole. She's a Botswana national who's managed to get herself an international scholarship. She is a dedicated, ambitious undergraduate medical student at Belgrade State University out in Russia, driven by a passion for healthcare and making meaningful differences in the lives of others. She was awarded the Russian government scholarship at 2025 that allowed her to pursue her medical studies and take an important step towards achieving her dream of becoming an influential doctor. During her prep studies, Atile achieved perfect results in chemistry, biology, and Russian language, and was named the best student in prep faculty at the Belgrade State University. And her commitment to academic excellence and public speaking had earned her an opportunity to speak at the annual Russian Science Conference, also that happened this year. And beyond medicine, Atile is very passionate about mentoring, inspiring, and empowering young people to pursue their dreams with confidence, discipline, and determination. Multilingual in English, Russian, and Setswana. Yes, English, Russian, and Setswana. Atile demonstrates strong skills in public speaking and mentorship. Her long-term vision is to become one of the world's most influential female doctors and ultimately serve as the director of a World Health Organization. Imagine, Director General of the WHO, and I truly believe she can. A best student, award-winning student already. Atile, we are so excited to have you join us at the Future Global Leaders Club. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am
Thank you
so
very,
good.
thank you
Listen,
very much for the.
we are excited. I'm going to not interrupt you. I'm going to hand over to you to speak about your journey to getting to where you are, how you're finding living in a completely different continent, and how you're still thriving and really setting the bar so high as you embark on your studies over there. I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Sis Oloti, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. My sincere thanks to the Future Global Leaders for inviting me and Ulihle for coming up with such a brilliant idea to lead, to mentor our young people. And thank you to my audience today. I look forward to showing you and sharing my insights on my journey abroad. With that said, in Russian, we say "давайте," which means let's get started. All right, I'm going to share my screen there so that we can get started. All right, as Osis Oletu has already mentioned, my name is Atile Tumagole. I'm a young girl from Botswana, raised in an urban village called Serowe in Botswana Central District. I completed my primary education in 2018 at Acacia Primary School, where I held the position of head prefect. In primary school, I consistently demonstrated academic excellence. From grade 4 to 7, I received both monthly and yearly top 10 academic awards. In 2023, I completed my high school at Regent, where I was awarded Best Student in Chemistry, as well as achieved a place among the IGCSE top 20 students in my school, and bagged 46 out of 48 points for my Cambridge. In 2024, I decided to advance my education. I completed my first year of the advanced subsidiary level at Rainbow. In May 2025, I was awarded the Russian government scholarship. I'm currently awaiting to start my first year in medical school in a small Russian city called Belgorod. I'm passionate about learning, and I believe that education is a powerful tool for creating opportunities as well as achieving long-term success. As you guys can see that I'm here talking to you guys and motivating you. That is what I do beyond my studies. I speak to young people, providing academic support, career guidance, motivation, and I help them to achieve their goals. Like I mentioned before, that I believe that academic validation combined with dedication opens doors to meaningful opportunities, and being a mentor to young people has played a significant role in shaping my character and has helped me to be more outspoken, more confident, and guide other young people as well to get where I am right now. So, with that said, before we get into our today's topic, just to make sure that I'm talking to people that do want to study abroad, people that dream big, that want to be where I am right now, or even do greater things that I am doing right now, I just want us to do a little quick, short exercise. I just want you to raise your hand if you have ever dreamt of studying your dream course abroad, being a top achiever, or getting a full funded scholarship. You can just type what you have dreamt of in the little comment section below. All right, introduced myself and given a brief background of what I do. My journey of studying abroad was something that was thoroughly thought through. I didn't just randomly one day decide that I'm going to pursue my dreams abroad or study abroad. It was something that was built through passion, hard work, and a strong belief that education could transform my life. So you'd ask yourself that what are the two most things that drove me or that kept me pushing, even things when things were challenging? First things first was my passion for learning. I have always been passionate about my studies. I've always enjoyed acquiring knowledge, being the smartest in the room.
Hi, FGLers that are attending, please remember to keep your microphones on mute so that we don't interrupt the presentation. Atile, apologies for that.
No worries. Like I said before, passion was one of the things that drove my determination. I have always been passionate about my studies. I've always been passionate about acquiring knowledge, being the smartest in the room. Like I've said earlier, that I believe that education is one of the most powerful life-changing tools. And I had a dream that kept me motivated. I had a clear vision of studying abroad, and that vision became my source of motivation. I remember when I was preparing for my AS levels, I was so exhausted, so mentally drained. I couldn't process any more information, but I had an exam the next day, and I just wrote on a little yellow note that, girl, imagine yourself on that plane, not knowing that the following year my dreams would come true. So it's quite interesting. And this is just to motivate you that dreams do come true. You have to work towards them. You have to put your all in them. How I decided that I'm going to study medicine. Normally, I would advise people that are starting their secondary school that as you are doing your secondary school or your high school, it's important to have a bit of a picture of what you want to study so that once you get your final year results, it's not so, you don't have to make that decision within a short period of time. So my decision to study medicine was driven by a deep curiosity about the human body and the need to understand how it works, and also because my brother grew up having asthma. So I think that every time he'd get those asthma attacks, it would be a bit, I'd feel helpless. So I was like, I need to be a doctor so that whenever something happens, I'm able to help. And as I started my high school, I was exposed more to biology and chemistry content, and I just fell in love with the medical field. So even after having this idea of me wanting to study medicine throughout my high school, after completing my secondary school, I was a bit skeptical about my decision because studying medicine in my country is a challenging process. And also because there are people advising you differently that, oh no, don't study medicine because medicine, they don't pay you as much because in medicine, you are always busy. Don't study engineering because in engineering, you always have to work. And I just was like, thank you guys for your advice, but let me do this my way. So these are the following steps that I took in order for me to make a final decision, a clear decision about what I want to study. So the first thing that I did was conduct a personality check. This is called the SWOT analysis, where I find out my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, and my strengths. So with the strength, I have always been very good at my science subjects, but very bad at maths. So I could not choose something that I know that I'm going to struggle with. For example, a faculty that has complex mathematics. So after having an idea that, okay, fine, my sciences are my best subjects, my maths is not so good, let me look for top three careers that incorporate my sciences. So I came up with my top three choices, which were metallurgy, chemical engineering, and medicine, also because I really, really enjoy studying chemistry. So what I did after choosing my top three, I found a mentor in each field. I had a mentor in metallurgy. I had a mentor that was studying chemical engineering as well as medicine. They would provide me with information about that particular course, the lifestyle, the working hours, the salary, as well as the the education process. And I would also advise you as young people that I know that our families want the best for us and our friends do want the best for us. But when you are choosing that particular course you want to study, please ensure that it's not only based off what other people are telling you. Do some research for yourself, because a career is something that you're going to be stuck with all the way, and I wouldn't want for any of you to be stuck doing something that you dread doing, that you don't enjoy. So with that being said, after carrying out these steps above, I was able to make a informed decision of what I wanted to study. So now that I had chosen my career path and I knew what was driving me, I had to figure out or draw up a plan of how I'm going to achieve my good results. And these are the following things that I did to ensure that my results were perfect and would create opportunities for me to achieve my dream or achieve my goal. The first thing that I would encourage you to do as young students is to be disciplined. Being disciplined has helped me to stay focused and consistent. And when you're disciplined, you avoid things that you know are going to cost you your goal. It's easier for you to build a routine and to do things easily. For example, if you know that, okay, every day I'm going to devote 1 hour to studying, it's easy for you to get yourself to study because it's something that you're already used to. Following the discipline, we have managing and planning your study time. I know that studying can be so dreadful at times, especially when you are not organized and you're not doing things the right way. So this is how I planned my study time and the study techniques that I used. Right. So the first thing that you're going to do when you plan your study time is, number one, to understand what kind of learner you are. Because as students, there are fast learners, there are slow learners, there are visual learners, or there are listeners. Find a suitable time for you, whether you prefer studying in the afternoons or in the early mornings, what time you get home, what household chores do you have to do, the effective study methods, and also identify which are your weak and strong subjects. For example, I'm a fast learner, but I easily forget. So I employed a study technique that required me to constantly review the information that I was reading or that I was studying. And also because I disliked studying during the day, so most of my study time would be in the AMs. And with that said, I used the one-page method as well as the space repetition. Let me elaborate this further. So, in creating your study timetable, like I've said before, you need to know your schedule, what time you get home, identify and prioritize your weak subjects. They should appear more on your table, and include time for past papers. For example, with this little table that I've showed here, mathematics was my weak subject, as I've mentioned before. So I'd ensure that each and every day I do a little bit of maths and that it appears more than the other subjects do. And so there'll be certain times, obviously, where studying gets boring. Sometimes you don't even feel like studying what you had planned to do that particular day. And one thing for me also, I struggled to follow a study timetable. Like it was so hard for me to follow a study timetable, but I had to push myself to do it because I had a goal and I was disciplined. That is how I was able to do that. Now with studying, how I actually studied, breaking down my study time, I'd use a heavy content-based subject, for example, life sciences, biology, or chemistry. Let's say, for example, today I am choosing to study digestion, right, which is a topic under biology. Because biology has so much information, I would break up my information into little chunks. Let's say I'm studying for an hour today, I'm studying biology for an hour. I would divide my 1 hour into 30 minutes each using the Pomodoro technique, where I'm studying for 30 minutes. I give myself a 5-minute break and then continue for 30 minutes. So let's say in the first 30 minutes, I want to study the enzymes involved in digestion. So what I would do is for 2 to 3 minutes, I grab my syllabus and just skim over what digestion is, those enzymes that are involved in digestion, just to get a quick and overall idea of what to expect so that I just don't plunge myself in the topic. After skimming through the topic, this is where I gather all my information. One thing I can advise you is don't rely only on your textbooks or only on the information your teachers give you. Nowadays, we have social media, which offers, these tutorials on how to answer question papers. They also provide videos, explain videos, and they also provide other forms of information. So don't be focused only on those textbooks. Use other information sources as well. So after gathering your information, thoroughly reading and studying the topic and ensuring that you have understood, you would grab a piece of paper and close your book and close all your sources of information and just begin to write what you recall and write what you recall, write what you recall. Thereafter, completing what you have recalled, you would close your book and open the book that has all the information and just reread to check which information that you might have missed. And whatever information that you have missed, ensure that you write it with a different pen and just go over the topic again. Once you're done going over the topic, use topical past paper questions. There are websites that provide these topical past paper questions. Like I said, if I was studying digestive system today, I would go on a website where I'd get my topical past papers and do a million questions so that I make sure that I understand the topic that I've just read. And one thing I can advise you is to use your syllabus to study. Use your syllabus to study because this is where most exam questions are going to be extracted from. And I know that studying gets boring sometimes, so you'd postpone your studying, you procrastinate until it's 2 days before prelims, and this is when you want to start studying. That's not how it works. Avoid waiting last minute to study because it causes unnecessary pressure, stress, and failure. For example, with me, I started preparing for my final examinations when I was doing grade 11. I studied ahead. Whenever my teachers would tell me, okay, in the next lesson, we'll be studying light energy in physics, I make sure that the day before that lesson, I'm just browsing through light energy in physics. I'm just browsing through the contents and the syllabus, the points and the objectives, just so that tomorrow when the teacher's explaining, I have an idea of what he or she is talking about. I'm not lost. And I would also encourage you to make your teachers your best friends. Please, these teachers are there for you. Whatever you need, whatever you feel to understand, please follow through with your teachers. Use your time wisely during study, during lunchtime, during tea time. This is the time that you use to do your homework so that when you get home, it's not a lot of things that you have to do. Or this is the time where you use to consult your teachers and to ask them about certain topics that you didn't understand or to explain certain questions. And also, one thing that is very important is learning how to answer exam questions. It is very important to know that, okay, if this question is saying describe, describe is different from saying explain so and so and so. So it's also important to employ how to answer exam questions. After you've planned your study time, it's also important to surround yourself with the right company, the right friends that will help you study. You know, friends that which, okay, yesterday you agree that, okay, guys, when we get home, we are going to study enzymes. Then tomorrow, so and so will explain the enzymes. So and so will explain the organs that are involved in the digestive system. Surround yourself with such kind of people that will motivate you, that will help you, and will drive you towards your goal. And also having a healthy lifestyle. In order for your brain to be performative and to function well, you need to sleep well, eat well, exercise. And I would also advise you to have a life outside your studies to also grow and invest in yourself and build your CV. Join sports, volunteer in community work, attend these webinars, and acquire knowledge. And last but not least, plan your future. Avoid making haphazard decisions about your future. Come up with a plan that, okay, fine, after I've decided that I want to study medicine, where do I want to study medicine? In which countries do I know that offer the best medical education? For example, Cuba, Canada, Russia, just to give an example. Then I'll say, okay, fine. In Canada or in Cuba, which particular university provides the best medical education? These are the things that you need to think through as you are in your high school years. Now, getting to my favorite part of how I got my Russian government scholarship. Now, as a young student, it's important to always be on the lookout for opportunities, for current affairs, scholarships, seminars, leadership, and programs that will open doors for you. It's important to also make good use of internet by seeking information that would benefit you and that your future self would be proud of. One thing that I learned when I was applying for my scholarships is that it's very important for you to be a unique candidate, to be a strong candidate, because remember, you are not the only person who's applying scholarships. You may be applying for the scholarships with 6 A stars, whereas somebody has 9 A stars. So this is where I decided after completing my secondary school that I wanted to advance my studies and do my advanced subsidiary levels. So completing my AS levels strengthened my academic profile and made me a more competitive candidate for the scholarship. Although the scholarship only required IGCSE results, which are equivalent to your metric, my AS level qualification demonstrated a higher level of achievement, and it gave me more of an advantage over other applicants. So with that, I think this experience taught me that investing in your education, challenging yourselves can open doors to opportunities that you may not have expected. So after getting my AS level results, the plan was to get 3 A stars because in our country there's what we call the top achiever scholarship, which is given to students that get 6 A stars in the IGCSE and students that get 3 A's in the AS level results. So unfortunately, I did not get that. I was a bit disappointed, but I decided that, you know what? I'm not going to give up on my dream. Let me take this disappointment. Let it not drain me or discourage me from, achieving my dream. So I still believe that, I'm going to study abroad. And also because I didn't want my parents to pay for my school fees. I just felt like they've done enough already. So I took the matters into my own hands and applied for over 50 scholarships online. Some I applied through our government. Our government posts scholarships, I think, towards the end of every year. So I applied for each and every one of these scholarships. I did not give up. That was constantly rejected. They will call me and tell me, we have considered you to for this certain scholarship. After considering me, they would change and say, no, we have rejected you. But even through that rejection, even through those trials, I still continued to push because I knew that I had a goal. I wanted to study abroad and I was serious and determined to study abroad, and nothing was going to stop me. So I applied for these scholarships. So after applying for so many scholarships and receiving rejection day in, day out, one Friday afternoon, um casually minding my own business, and I remember that, my scholarships, I haven't checked my scholarships update or my emails in a while. So I opened my spam mail and there it was, an email from the Russian embassy. There, at first I thought, I was like, it probably is another rejection, until I saw the subject of the email. I was like, wow, this is my nomination. I think that was one of the best feelings. I cannot explain the joy that I felt that day, knowing that all my hard work, all the sleepless night, all the times that I cried myself to sleep because I thought I was going to fail, because I thought my dream wasn't going to, I wasn't going to be able to study abroad. It just made so much sense that the perseverance, the dedication, and the hard work paid off. It was one of the best feelings after sacrificing. I have never experienced such kind of joy before. So this is to say it is possible, even if it's hard, even if right now it feels like you are failing certain subjects, keep pushing, keep trying, keep doing those past papers. Especially now I know that I think the final year students, the grade 12s or the form 5s, are about to write the mock exams or their prelims. So this is the time where you have to be strategic in doing the things you do. You have to plan your time. You have to push, 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 so that in the end, you achieve your goal. And also, it was a proud moment for me and my family, getting to see the joy on my mom's face when I showed her the email. There's nothing that compares to that. So I'm sure that we also want that. You as young people also want that for yourselves, for your families, and let not your background or what you have been through stop you, or don't let it think that it determines how and what your future and your destiny is going to be. You can do it. Whatever you put your mind to, I promise you, you can do it. Anything it is, even if it's the biggest, the wildest dream, you can do it. So I left for Russia last year, November, and I've learned so much ever since arriving in Russia. Most Russians don't know English, so there's a bit of a language barrier there. So at first, it was very hard for me to adapt because, you're in a foreign country, you don't know anybody, that you don't know the language as well. But luckily, I had the best teachers, the best mentors, the best friends that encouraged us to practice and to not being afraid to make mistakes, because that's the only way we can learn. And also, studying abroad, you are introduced into adulthood. You're not nested into adulthood, you're just pushed into adulthood. So ever since I've arrived here, I've learned to be responsible for myself. I'm paying bills now and I'm buying groceries. I'm saving and I'm investing. Studying abroad is lovely. It is exciting. It's one of the best things. But I can say that one of the things that I struggle with so much is homesickness. I cannot get used to the fact that I am living without my family. Like, it doesn't feel right. There's just some days where I feel like, all these problems, all these challenges that I'm facing would be so much better if I had my family, if I had my mom here. Things would be so much easier. But I have to keep going because I wanted this. I wanted to study abroad. I wanted to study medicine, suppress that feeling of loneliness and feeling out of place. And also one thing that you need to know about schools abroad, they're very different from our schools back home. There's also the factor of culture shock. For example, here in Russia, attendance is very, very important. You get a pass for an exam all because you attended all the lessons, all because you participated on them, not because you understand or anything, but because you are attending and you're showing interest in your studies. And also, the weather here is very extreme. So, coming abroad, you need to do your research on the countries that you want to go to the weather. And yes, those are the things that you need to consider. And these are pictures of me in Russia. The first picture on the left, top left, this was my first picture in the snow, first time experiencing snow. On the right, this was my first trip to a town close by. They took us to a museum to teach us about the Russian culture. And the bottom left picture was when I was presenting on the Russian Annual Science Conference. And last but not least, my favorite picture on the bottom right there was, I think, 3 weeks ago when I graduated as the best student in the faculty. And yeah, all I can say is Russia is a very beautiful place. It's very safe. I just love the fact that I get to pursue my dreams abroad. I get to interact with people from different cultures, from different countries, and yes, chase my dream. So, ever since arriving in Russia, these are the following things that I've achieved. I have successfully managed to adapt to the environment. I'm now a fluent Russian speaker. I have a certificate in Russian speaking. I was awarded the best student in the preparatory faculty from year 2025 to 2026. And like I've mentioned before, that I recently graduated from the preparatory faculty and got an award for excellent grades and participation in events. And all this was through the hard work, the resilience, and the discipline that I taught myself in high school. You see, the same things, the same skills that I acquired in high school, these are the same things that are pushing me and that are driving me further to my goals. And as mentioned before, my future plans, I do hope to complete my studies and graduate with a red diploma. In Russia, we have this thing where, you're graduating with honors, which is the red diploma, and just with BSc, which is the blue diploma. So I do hope that one day I will graduate with that red diploma and continue to inspire young people, continue to push you guys to chase your dreams and know that anything is possible. Whatever you put your mind to, whatever you want to do, it is possible. So, in conclusion, I just want to leave you with one thought that your dreams are valid. Where you start does not determine where you finish. Your background also does not define your future. Build habits that you know your future self will thank you for and dreams. I think one of the mistakes that I've made um, was not investing in myself, reading books, and trying out new things. I've always just kept to my studies. I think that slowed me down a bit. So, yes, thank you very much.
Oh wow, Atile, thank you so much. So I take notes when we do webinars and all that stuff because I always learn so much from our guest speakers. In spite that I'm a generation removed from you, your story is so incredibly inspiring. The sense that you've anchored yourself on really chasing down your dreams and not letting any amount of no's deter you from getting there. I just have a few questions, and I'm sure I'd like the FGLers who would like to ask a question to either raise your hand or just type it in the chat box because we do have some time with Atile before we get to our next speaker. You mentioned that you got a lot of rejections. Most people, when they hear a no, they think, "Ah, oh, that means I'm not good enough." What set your nose apart from everybody else's nose being a final line?
Thank you very much for the question. Um, like I've mentioned that I
Uh, Network, you are freezing
I
there,
would just
but
let me use this word. I was but received this rejection pushed me towards it despite the rejection. Is everything okay?
yes, I can hear you
Oh,
now.
okay, 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 okay. Yes, so I knew that I had to reach my goal. So even being rejected, it did not stop me. I wanted it so bad. Have you ever wanted something so bad? So I
Mm,
had to push. And also because I had such a supportive family, there were days where I did want to give up. I remember they called me for the Hungary Camp scholarship and they told me that we have shortlisted you, but we have changed our mind. I remember calling my mom and saying, Mom, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. And she was
mm,
like, you have to keep going. Remember
mm,
how far you have come. I
mm,
think the effort that you've put into your dreams, I think rejection won't stop you. You know
mm.
that I've come so far.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yes.
We spent some time going through your study timetable and your study techniques, and you recognizing that maths wasn't like your strongest subject. And to still keep it as a subject because you knew what you needed to study would need some mathematics as a background. Um, if somebody's sitting with a subject right now that they know is necessary for whatever three dream careers that they want to have, but it's not really their strong subject, how did you push through in making sure that you do get above a C, that you get a high B, and you knocking on the door of an A, even though it's not your strong subject?
Thank you for the question. Let me use maths as an example. Maths is something that requires practice every day. So I had to do my research that, for example, okay, fine, I am struggling with maths. What kind of subject is maths? What does it require? Does it require repetition? Does it require me to study, to watch videos, or to constantly revise? You need to understand, okay, what kind of subject is this that I'm struggling with? And also, there are these, I don't know if they do have it for metric, but there are certain like websites that post videos of how to answer particular questions. So what I would do is that I would grab a maths paper, I'd study and just review the topics that were hard for me. I'd grab a maths past paper and just tackle them, and tackle them. And once I'm done, I would use those videos to just recheck what I've done and then understand the proper way of answering the questions. I know it's difficult, I know it's draining, but you have to keep going.
Yeah, because the dream is what you have in mind the whole
The
time.
dream is that you have in mind.
The dream is at the forefront there and it's what you are chasing. There's a question here
Yes.
from the FGLer that says, how did you manage school, friends, and family and personal life?
Let me be honest with this. I did not have a social life. Yes, in my final year of Form 5, I didn't have a social life. I just decided to put it on hold and say this is only for a year, and then after that I can have my friends and do as I please. But also with the friends thing, like I've said, surround yourself with people that have the same dream
Mm,
or the same goal. In that way, at the same time, you're spending time with your friends and being productive.
I love that. I love that. Birds of the feather flock
Yes.
together. Kazimla has a
All together.
question
Yes.
that I can't quite see. I don't know if you can
Mhm.
see it on your side, Kazimla. Uh,
Yes, I can't study weeks before exams, but I study a day before and I still get high marks. What does that mean? All right, like I've said before, that there are different kinds of learners. There are people that, you read a topic the night before and it's already registered in your long-term memory. You can, understand it quickly and um, they'll move to writing an exam. I think although it's good, it's a safe thing to do because you know it works for you, but during crucial times, it's best to avoid that. You can do it, but let's make things easier for ourselves and then continue to review because I think like studying a day before, I think it would work for people that, forget easily. So you know that if I studied yesterday, tomorrow I'll remember.
Yeah, but then you're not really strengthening that muscle, right? You just like you said now that you are the type of
Exactly.
learner that learns things quickly, but you easily forget. But in order for you to retain that
Forget. So
information, you need to review, you need to repeat, you need to review, you need to repeat. Because also it isn't a once-off thing. You
yes.
mentioned earlier that the habits and how your brain functions now in Russia is because of the habits and the things that you did and the conditioning that you did in high school. So you're able
Exactly.
to grow and
Yes.
grasp knowledge building on the solid foundation of how you did things in high school. So, because I'm like, it might be a
Mm.
fluke that you're able to get those top marks after just one day of study. But I think the consistency is always being ahead of time so that by the time you get to the exam, it's just a review. And perhaps that top mark that was an 85 can be a 95 because you spent 2 weeks prepping. Atile, thank you so much for your time. Any final words to the Future Global Leaders Club members before I head on to our next speaker? This is not a question, just a note saying that I'm very proud. Can you read that? Oh, that is so beautiful. I want to go to this chat. Not a question, just want to say very proud of my niece. And just one final question. What is the one wish that you have as a student? And do you plan on working in Russia when you're done with your studies?
Yes, I do plan on working in Russia. I think that is why I also decided to study in Russian because I was given alternative to either study in English or to study in Russian. So I chose to study in Russian so that when I'm working and when I'm interacting with my patients, I know what I'm doing.
You are actually learning in Russian. You are
I am
studying.
learning in Russian.
Wow. All right. Well, your ambition and your determination never ceases to amaze me. We are going to catch up with you in 4 years' time, in 5 years' time, looking to congratulate you for that red pass, that red qualification, that honors pass. And they're asking you to say goodbye or say something in Russian just so we can, get that thing.
All right, let me reintroduce myself in Russian. Привет, меня зовут Атиле, я из Ботсваны, я учусь на Белгородском государственном университете.
And say good luck for exams, good luck for your final year.
Удачи!
Odachi is good luck.
Yes, yes.
Odachi, well, from us, Odachi, you've made us so proud. We can't wait to connect with you. Truly appreciate you taking the time to inspire us to excellence. Thank you so much, Adile.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,